So in the previous classes we have studied about how these people have so that how these Britishers was responsible for the American War of Independence. So we have discussed various causes like the mercantile policy, the attitude of British, and various other reasons. Among the reasons, let's continue with the other reasons. The British restrictions on the manufacture and sale. So in the American colonies, the British have restricted. That means they have kept certain limits on the manufacture of and sale of certain things or certain goods, because of which the American colonists felt they are in danger. So they wanted to fight against the Britishers. The British restrictions on the manufacture of certain items in the colonies, such as ironworks, woolen goods, felts, and other luxury items. So, certain items like these ironworks, iron was never allowed to any iron objects and all were never allowed by the Britishers to get manufactured in the American colonies. Woolen goods and felts. Felts are also a kind of cloth, okay, where the woolen cloth was pressed and rolled, and later, it was made little bit more smoother, and generally it was also used for I mean, various purposes, but it is generally made up of wool. So felts and other luxury items, these items were never allowed to get manufactured in the colonies of America, because we'll see the reason why they were not allowed to get manufactured. So when these items were not allowed to get manufactured in American colonies, it caused resentment among the Americans. Resentment means that they felt bitterly very unhappy, because such important goods like iron things and woolen, etc., when they were not allowed to get manufactured in their places, even though the raw materials and other things were available for these things, they were not allowed to manufacture them into some kind of goods. Suppose iron ore is there, they were not allowed, all the iron ore is taken away to England. Anything which is made up of iron is not available was not made available in America. So this kind of resentment, that means bitterly unhappiness, unfairness, these all made people resent against the Britishers. So the law provided that these goods must be imported from Britain. So according to the law of the Britishers in these American colonies, these above items which we have discussed now, they must be imported from Britain, because in England, taking away the resources from America, they manufacture them into a final product. For example, in America, suppose if wool is available, they take away all the wool to England, and there in England, the textile industry, they manufacture all the sweaters and all, and they again export them back to America. So America is there, or American colonies was their market area. They used to sell all the finished products of England in America. So if they allow these products to get manufactured in American colonies, the Britain will lose their market of their manufactured goods. So they restricted the manufacture of these things in their in American colonies, and they dumped American colonies with the finished products of Britain, especially these kind of products. And goods imported from other countries were heavily taxed. So when they send when they are dependent on the imported goods of Britain, for example, okay, let's think that these woolen goods are coming from England, they can purchase, but that goods which are imported from England were not in the American colonies were not in a position to purchase also people, because they were heavily taxed. Whatever goods that are coming from England, if any buyer from America wants to buy that, they are of high price, because they have to pay high taxes to import those goods. So in a way, the Britain wanted already taking away the resources from American colonies. On the other side, the finished goods which are being dumped were also heavily taxed, so that they wanted to exploit again the markets of uh, American colonies. And it is compulsory for them. They are very much in need, right? Woolen goods and all. So anyhow, they have to buy. How much ever price they fix, they have to buy. So in such a way, the Britain used to exploit the American colonies. Similarly, the colonists had to export products like cotton, sugar, and tobacco only to the England at prices fixed by the British government. On one hand, these American colonies which produce cotton, sugar, and tobacco, it must and should be exported to England only. They cannot export to another place where they get good price. They should only export to England at the prices fixed by British government. And also these American colonies are supposed to buy these kind of ironworks and woolen goods at prices fixed by British government again. In a way, these Britishers were deciding the buying and selling of the goods of American colonies at their prices fixed. If they wanted to sell, they used to sell it with high taxes and high prices. If they wanted to buy, they used to buy at a very cheaper price. Thus, this kind of trade policy of Britishers towards American colonists made them resented, and also these restrictions convinced the colonists that the British government was deliberately, that means wantedly, hampering their economic development. Hampering means it is the Britishers are wantedly trying to stop the growth of the economy of American colonies. The American traders and people, they understood that the Britishers were wantedly making this kind of import and export policy as a policy which is completely favorable to Britishers but not to Americans. So thus they don't want the American colonies to economically develop. So this idea got rooted in the minds of Americans now. So this also became a reason for people of American colonies to fight for their independence against British. So there are some unpopular acts. As Americans were ruled by Britishers, the British government also passed some unfair and unpopular acts on American colonies. So because of these acts also people got angry and they were involved with the to fight back against British. The war with the France left a heavy financial burden on the British. Since the American colonies were the main beneficiary of Britain's victories in the conflict, Britain considered it as appropriate to tax the Americans and to manage its war efforts. For this purpose, the British Parliament passed a number of acts. So, here, who used to pass all the acts and laws for American colonies? It was the British Parliament in England. So, these people they thought that the war with the France left a heavy financial burden on the British government. So, what happened was, I was telling you the one of the reasons earlier that the British was in a way responsible for the removal of danger of France in American colonies, because the British were always in war with French, and they have these French people who were supposed to even occupy America, they lost control over America because of British, because the British emerged victorious against the wars made with French. So the British, in doing wars with France, they said that they have protected American colonies from France because they have defeated France in all the wars, most of the wars. So, after the finish of wars, the British claim and the British financial position also became weak because all the money that they are generating from their colonies and all was used away because they have to fight a very powerful army like France. So, financially, Britain also became little weak, or financially it became little, or more or less it became, it became a burden for Britishers. So now what Britishers did, they said to American colonies that because of your protection against France, we have made our financial position weak in England. So we are going to tax you, American people. So we are going to collect more and more taxes from you people. So with this reason, they passed some unpopular acts, unfair acts. They kept French victory as a reason, and they wanted to make their financial position in England better. So they charged more and more taxes on American colonies. So for this purpose, the British Parliament passed a number of acts. So to collect more and more taxes from American colonies, they passed a number of acts. And the reason they showed is the French victory. That means the victory over France. Because of our victory over France, America has got rid of the French armies invading them. So, with this reason, they passed a lot of acts. What are those acts? The Quartering Act 1765. So, according to this act, all the colonies have to pay a smaller portion of expenditure incurred upon the maintenance of British troops deployed in America. So, they showed up that according to this act, generally, as American colonies are colonies of Britain, these Britishers, they used to keep certain armies of British in all the American colonies, and they used to collect some kind of tax called quartering tax, because these troops are looking after the colonies against French attack or somebody from outside. They can't attack because these American troops, sorry, British troops were looking after people in American colonies. So with this reason, they started collecting some taxes called maintenance tax or quartering act. With this act, they started collecting some maintenance tax for British troops in American colonies. So this was one thing. And the Currency Act, it also sought to ban the prevalent bills of exchange and paper currency of American colonies. So what do you mean by bills of exchange and paper? Here, bills of exchange means generally this in trade and international trade and all. So they'll agree for paying some amount of money for doing, for doing business, and within that time they have to. There will be a time limit. It's a written order. Generally, prevalent bill means of exchange means it's a written order in international trade. Okay, so if two parties are involved in international trade, one party will have a bond with the other party for, uh, in this particular date, I'll pay you this much amount of money and I'll get this much of products. So that's a kind of an order recall. So according to the past Currency Act, because of which all the prevalent bills that are with American colonies and their paper currency was banned. American colonies' bills of exchange and paper currency was banned by Britishers through Currency Act. And the purpose was these American colonies, the Britishers want the American colonies to use only English currency for their business transactions, but not their own currency. So this was also a unpopular and unfair act that these Britishers have imposed on Americans. The Sugar Act 1764. According to this act, the Britishers banned the import of rum from overseas countries except England. So what is rum here? So rum is a, it's a liquor actually. So which is made from sugar molasses or sugarcane liquid. So with sugarcane liquid, they make a liquor and they used to sell it to American colonies. Now, American colonies used to import this liquor called rum from various countries earlier. But after this Sugar Act was passed, The American colonies were supposed to buy rum, which is a liquor, only from England. Okay, from no other country the Americans are not were allowed to purchase. They have to purchase only from England. So officials were given even orders to enforce this Sugar Act strictly. So no trader in American colony must import rum from any part of the world. They should only import from England. So England was having huge, this factories of rum making. So they wanted to benefit the factories there. So what they did, they made Sugar Act so that they must and should import from England only. And the Stamp Act 1765. So according to this act, they imposed a tax on legal documents and certain other items such as newspapers. So if any legal transaction takes place through a document and all, these people, American colonies, they have to pay some amount of money as a tax to Britishers. And also, if anybody is buying newspaper and all, if anybody is in American colonies and all, if newspapers have to be run, they have to pay a certain amount of tax to again Britishers. So these all acts looks very unfair for Americans and also made them to resent and feel very unhappy with the Britishers. So the colonies, after looking all these acts and unfair, attitude of British and all, they responded. The American colonies, they gave their response to British, saying that they alone had the right to tax themselves through their assemblies. If at all the Americans want to tax on American people, it is their assembly or their legislative bodies who has the right to tax them. So they felt, who are these Britishers to tax us? In Britain Parliament, does any American citizen is having any representation there? There is no representation there. Then how can these Britishers can tax with various acts by passing laws from British Parliament? Americans have questioned this. They said, we don't have any representation in your Britain Parliament. Then why is Britain Parliament charging us with many taxes? Why is that Britain Parliament is passing many laws for America? So if at all they have to tax themselves, American Assembly or American legislative bodies are there to tax them. Who are these Britain people to tax us? So this was the question raised by American colonists. And also they raised the famous slogan on this aspect, saying that no taxation without representation. So that means you cannot tax us without considering our representation in Britain Parliament. Suppose if you allow Americans, do you think the Britishers would allow Americans to go and involve in political affairs of Britain? They would never do. So that means they would never allow Americans to have representation in Britain Parliament. So they gave a slogan that you cannot tax us without giving us representation in Britain Parliament. So no taxation without representation was a popular slogan in American colonies during those days. So so when they started protesting against the act, so when they didn't like the acts made by the British Parliament, then a group of American people known as Sons of Liberty. Okay, so a fighting group you can call, a freedom seeking group you can call it. So a group with the name Sons of Liberty, they drew up a memorandum of protest against the crown. So responding to the acts made by the Britain Parliament, a group of American colonists known as Sons of Liberty, they gave a memorandum or a request to as of protest that they are not liking this kind of acts, so against the crown, the British crown. So when they did such kind of protest, responding to the protest, the British Parliament withdrew the Stamp Act but claimed the power to legislate for the colonies through the Declaratory Act. So, by the Declaratory Act, the British Parliament got the right to levy both internal and external taxes. So, what happened now? When these people with slogan no taxation without representation, they started protesting against Britishers, they have somehow responded positively by withdrawing Stamp Act. So according to Stamp Act, they used to tax all the newspapers and also many things in Americans. So they just pretended that they are doing some favor to Americans. But immediately, what this Britain Parliament did, it claimed the power to legislate for the American colonies. So by passing an act in Britain Parliament called Declaratory Act. So what British Parliament did, it passed an act called Declaratory Act. With this act, the Britain claimed, or they said that with the Declaratory Act, we got the power to legislate on American colonies. That means we can make laws for American colonies. So when they got power to make laws on American colonies, what they obviously do, they said we also have the right to tax both internal and externally regarding America. So any external things and internal things of America are to be taxed. That power also now Britain Parliament got to an act. So the response was very much unexpected by American colonists. So then what happened? The American War of Independence was triggered off by an incident known as Boston Tea Party. So Boston Tea Party was the major incident that was responsible for the beginning of American War of Independence. I know it can you can call it like an immediate reason. These are all the all reasons which we have discussed, the acts and their attitude, their mercantile policy and all. You can consider them as long-term reasons for Americans to fight against British. What is the immediate reason that led them into War of Independence? It was the immediate reason was the Boston Tea Party. So in 1770 incident, this was an incident that happened. In 1773, British Parliament passed the Tea Act, which permitted the British East India Company to sell tea directly to the colonies. So in 1773, the Britain Parliament has passed an act called Tea Act, and according to this act, all the American colonies should buy tea from, or all the British East India Company, which was a trading company, it has got rights to sell tea directly to the colonies. All American colonies must and should buy the tea from this East India Company only, or the British East India Company only, which was a trading company of Britain again. So the colonists demanded that the British government should withdraw the tax on tea. So to sell tea directly to the colonies, and they also were taxing heavily on Britishers also. Suppose the Britishers got the power to, with this Tea Act, they got power to sell tea to American colonies. And if these American colonies wanted to buy this tea, it was very high. The prices was very high. And these American colonies have no other option except to buy from the British East India Company. Even though the prices are high, they have to buy from them only. So now American colonies asked that they should at least withdraw the tax on tea. If these people wanted to buy tea, there was heavy tax on this tea. They can't buy it. Still, they were forced to buy this highly taxed tea. So American colonists demanded that at least you remove the tax on the tea. You sell the tea, fine, we'll purchase from you, but remove the tax so that the price will reduce of the tea and we can purchase. But the Britishers disagreed. In some cities, so as a counter thing, in some cities, the colonists refused to permit the unloading of tea. So certain group of American colonists, they have refused the tea products to get unloaded in the the shore areas, wherever ports and all. The tea will be the Britain used to send all the tea and everything through ships, and these ships come and halt at the ports of American colonies. Now the American colonists went and they refused this tea to be unboarded, unloaded even. So under the guidance of Samuel Adams, a few Americans disguised as porters boarded the ships of East India Company docked at Boston port. So when ships of tea came to Boston port in America, in American colonies, Boston port was an important port. Ships of tea came to this Boston port. They were ready to unload. So now American colonists, they have dressed up themselves as a porters. That means people who work for unloading and all. They have boarded these tea ships and they picked up some 340 boxes of tea and threw them into the sea. So these Americans who dressed up themselves like unloaders of tea, they went onto these ships. They have thrown all the tea boxes into the sea. So, as a protest against the uh, policy of British towards selling the tea. So, this was called Boston Tea Party incident. This action was supported by a large section of the public in America. This action was the first direct involvement of Americans against British. They started waging their independence fight against British with this incident. So even public in America, they got very much inspired by this act. They felt very happy that they could fight against British like this. So as a result, the British government, on hearing the news of Boston Tea Party, retaliated by passing a number of coercive acts in 1774. So after knowing that the Boston, you can see in this picture Boston Tea Party incidents, the American colonists throwing all the tea boxes into sea. So knowing this incident, the Britishers responded to it in a very coercive manner, in a very rude and rough manner. So they wanted to punish the colonists now. How to punish them? They bought a lot of acts again. So known as the intolerable acts. That means in no way the Britishers were ready to tolerate the actions of Americans now. So many intolerable acts were passed by Britain against American colonists as a counter to Boston Tea Party incident. The government even closed the port of Boston, reorganized the government of Massachusetts, and allowed the troops to be quartered in private homes. So this Boston was in Massachusetts state, and what happened now? They closed this because of such incident. The Britishers were trying to take up some precautionary measures not to get this kind of incidents repeated again because it gained public popularity. So public may turn up against this, may resort to this kind of thing. So they closed the Boston port and they also reorganized the government because they felt that it was a failure of the government there, which was under the control of America, sorry, British. So they even organized the troops properly there, and these intolerable acts resulted in organized opposition. So, as a counter, when British imposed many intolerable acts, that means the Britain is not going to tolerate the actions of Americans now. So, with one incident called Boston Tea Party, the Britain became so alert and it started passing intolerable acts. That means it is not going to tolerate such kind of law-breaking incidents by Americans. So this made Americans also to organize some opposition against Britain. So when such acts were being passed by Britain, uh, then Americans also they started showing their anger by organizing certain protests and all against Britain. So these American colonies against the British policies, they started organizing some opposition. So how they organized, how the American colonies formed some unions and opposed the British policies. As a first reaction to the intolerant acts of British, several American people they formed into some committees of correspondences. That means through letters and all, they used to act. So the American colonists organized themselves into a group of committees. Okay, these committees they composed of citizens who were critical of Britain, in all the colonies, all over the colonies. So, a group of people called committees of correspondences have formed. So, what are these committees? These committees are a group of American people who are very critical of Britain and their policies towards America. So, these committees, they have started functioning through correspondence. That means through exchange of letters and all. They used to criticize the British policies. So these committees are composed of American people and they are very much critical on the policies of Britain. Such correspondence committees were formed throughout the colonies in America, throughout many colonies on America. So this was the first reaction. A groups started functioning against Britishers for the very first time. And in 1774, these committees organized the first Continental Congress in Philadelphia to persuade the British Parliament to restore self-government in the colonies. So these all committees together, they conducted one meeting. It was called First Continental Congress meeting. Congress nothing but meeting. So all the such committees from various American colonies, they came together and they met at Philadelphia, and that meeting was called as First Continental Congress. So in this First Continental Congress conducted at Philadelphia, they passed a resolution. The Congress there passed a resolution. What was that resolution? The objective of the conference was not to demand complete independence. Okay, they didn't ask the Britishers to leave completely America and go away. But what did they ask? They asked self-government in the colonies. So the colonies, through these committees in the Philadelphia Congress, demanded Britain that Britain should allow all the American colonies, to rule themselves independently. They never asked the Britishers to leave them and go away, but they asked that they should allow these colonies of America to function independently without the interference of Britain. So they wanted to take this issue to Britain Parliament also. So this was their objective. Their objective was never complete independence. What do you mean by complete independence here? The leaving of Britain from America. That was never asked by them, but only an autonomy of internal affairs. This clearly shows that the first Philadelphia Congress demanded internal autonomy, but not complete autonomy. Internally, every colony wanted to have their control over their own affairs. They don't want the Britain to interfere in their affairs. So at the conference, a declaration charter was drafted which included a threat to boycott the use of British goods. So charter, that means, so this in this conference, they not only asked for autonomy of internal affairs, and they passed a declaration charter. So charter means like a written document, you can call, with certain kind of what do you call, proposals. So in this declaration charter, the American colonists also mentioned that they were even ready to boycott ready to boycott the use of British goods if they don't allow them to rule themselves internally. Internally, like every colony, they should have control their own affairs. They should not be interfered by any Britishers. So if they don't give that autonomous status, then they will be even proposing for boycotting the Britain goods. So this was the declaration charter proposed by the First Continental Philadelphia Congress, which was held by the various committees of correspondence of Americans. So this Congress had contributed a lot in the fight against Britishers. So what did they help? How did this Congress help? It helped in the formation of an intercontinental organization which revived the system of commercial boycott. So what happened? As they said in the charter that they are ready to even boycott the goods of Britishers. So the Congress have finally done that. They could organize an intercontinental organization so that they could revive the system of commercial boycott. That means commercially, the Americans will not buy any Britain products from now onwards. So with this idea, this kind of policy was actively implemented by Congress by forming an intercontinental organization also. Also, after reviving this kind of commercial boycott, the Congress dispersed with a decision to meet again on May 10th, 1775. So, after continuing the policy of commercial boycott, the Congress left, and they also decided, the Congress party, they dispersed the meeting, and they also proposed to meet again on May 10th, 1775. Consequently, as per the decision taken in the earlier Congress meeting, now the Second Continental Congress also met in May 1775. So, first Congress at Philadelphia and second Congress was also organized in May 1775. It led this assembly to conduct the government of the colonies. So, the Congress, which was a meeting in this second meeting, it served as an assembly also. They declared that the Second Continental Congress also served as a legislative body or as an assembly for all the American colonies. So this assembly would also function as government for all the colonies. In their struggle against British, their fight against British, now the Second Continental Congress transformed itself as a government, a common government for all the colonies in America. So all the colonies, until and unless they come up on a common platform, like one single platform, they cannot fight against British. So the Second Continental Congress, which was committees from all colonies, it served as a government now. So this Second Continental Congress, which also functioned as government for the colonies, it also organized a colonial army now. So they also recruited some army, and also navy was organized by this colonial government. And in April 1775, a fight broke out between British troops led by Lord Cornwallis and the colonies led by George Washington. So Americans now, they have organized all the American colonies. Now they've got a common government. Unlike before, there was an individual government in each colony. Now all the colonies, under the leadership of Second Continental Congress, which in turn acted as a government for them, organized a army for them, also organized a navy for them. So with the army and navy, the American colonies had a armed struggle against Britishers. So British forces, which were led by Lord Cornwallis, fought against the forces led by Americans under the leadership of George Washington. In August 1775, King George III declared the colonies to be in rebellion. So officially now, King George III, who was the Britain king, who was England's king, he declared that the colonies in now rebellion. That means they wanted. It is not just an internal some kind of revolt. Now they said that the colonies, all the American colonies, now they are in rebellion against Britain. So this declaration made them to officially enter into war. So, so that was the result of the fight between Cornwallis and George Washington's forces. So, birth of United States of America. On July 4th, 1776, the Continental Congress adopted the Declaration of Independence written by Thomas Jefferson. So, you can see George Washington here and Lord Cornwallis in these pictures. As I mentioned, these both forces fought against each other, and so as a result of which United States of America was formed. Earlier, these states were not together, but in the process of attaining freedom against Britishers, they all came together, right, in the name of Continental Congress. So hence it was called United States. That means all the states have united in their fight against Britain. So the Continental Congress adopted Declaration of Independence. So as a provisional government, they have also passed Declaration of Independence written by Thomas Jefferson. The declaration emphasized that all men are born equal, cannot be denied the right to life and liberty. So they consider that all people on this America, they were born equal and they cannot be denied the right to life and liberty. So this liberty was under the control of Britain those days. So they said, we are proposing an independence to all people to be free and having their right to live. So it asserted, so this Declaration of Independence of the Continental Congress was an important event in the American history. So it also gave people's right. Okay, it also provided some rights to people. Let us see what kind of rights the people got through this Declaration of Independence made by Continental Congress. So the Declaration of Independence also gave the people of America a right to form their own government. It not only said that we are going to make people give rights of life and liberty, but also it gave the Declaration of Independence by Continental Congress gave people right to form their own government. So, one hand they gave right of life and liberty are main things for people. On the other hand, the Continental Congress said that American colonies have right to form their own government. So it was also stated in the declaration that henceforward the Americans were free to take authoritative decisions independently in all matters of war, peace, truce, and business. So, which are the rights of an independent state? So, also the Declaration of Independence, which was proposed by or which was documented by Thomas Jefferson, it gave people some rights, or some America also certain independent things. What are the things? It gave Americans to take authoritative decisions independently. It is from then onwards, America has got right to take decisions about its country on its own in all matters, like war. If America has to go into war, it is there. It is a decision of Americans, not somebody should decide this. If peace has to be made, it is again Americans' decision. And if it is truce means like it's an agreement between generally agreements will be made between enemies and all in wars and all. So such kind of agreements, if they want to make, again it should be the decision should be Americans, not Britain. So and business, so economically they should have control over their decisions. It is not Britain who should decide the economy of Americans. So all the rights generally which an independent state will enjoy, all such things were included in the this Declaration of Independence, and it was made popular. After this declaration, the war for American independence continued till 1781. So, declaring these things, the war, the direct war was prevailing between American and British forces. When the British forces led by Cornwallis were defeated by American forces led by George Washington. So, what happened was when such a direct fight was happening between Lord Cornwallis forces versus George Washington forces, surprisingly, George Washington, who was the leader for American forces now, he won over the Britain forces. Lord Cornwallis, who was leading Britain forces, lost the war. You can see here Lord Cornwallis surrendering to American forces. So, Americans in the war against Britain, they also got support from Spanish forces and French forces. So, French will be always waiting for a chance to take revenge on Britain, right? So, they helped American forces in their fight against Britain forces. So Britain lost the war in this, and the War of American Independence ended in 1783 with the Treaty of Paris. So in Paris, both American representatives and Britain representatives, they came together and they signed a Treaty of Paris. By this treaty means an agreement. By this treaty, Britain recognized the independence of 13 colonies and fixed the boundaries of America along the river Ohio. So now, in this 1783 Treaty of Paris, an important step happened. What was that? The Britain in this treaty agreed to recognize all the 13 colonies that are belonging to America as independent, and also all these 13 colonies were together called United States of America, and their border is at river Ohio. So this was the importance of Treaty of Paris. Okay, so they lost the war, they came into a treaty, gave all the colonies independence, and they fixed the boundaries of America at Ohio. So in 1787, a constitutional convention. So after the Treaty of Paris, and when they were all the colonies were given freedom, there is further things to be done. It is not that the Britain leaving America would completely solve their problems. They should also be capable of ruling themselves, right? All the colonies under one government, it should be capable of ruling itself. So in 1787, a constitutional convention met at the chairmanship of George Washington in Philadelphia. So again, a meeting was conducted at Philadelphia under the leadership of George Washington, and at this convention, a constitution providing federal system of government was proposed. So Americans should be able to rule themselves. To rule themselves, they require a constitution. So that constitution, a drafted copy of constitution, was proposed with a system of federal government. That means federal government means there would be a central government, and every state of American colony would have its own government. So this kind of government was drafted through the Constitution by George Washington in Philadelphia. So this Constitution, which was initially made, it contained 4 pages, was signed by 51 persons on September 17th, 1787. So in 1787 itself, they have adopted this constitution, which was preliminary, you can call, and it also came into force on June 21st, 1788. So this was just a preliminary document. Later they sat and they made it elaborate. But initially what they require was, as they got freedom from Britain, they need to rule themselves with a form of government. And that government was allowed to form with this preliminary constitution, which contained 4 pages. So in 1787 it was drafted and adopted, and in 1788 this constitution came into force. According to this constitution, the 13 American colonies, they have joined together now. Earlier, when they were under the British rule, or when their origins, they were always existing independent. No colony had any relations with other colony. But in the struggle for freedom against British, all these colonies got united, right? So these colonies, they have come together and led to the emergence of United States of America. That means all the states got united now. So thus USA formed, and the new constitution declared America as a republic. That means it also will have a president who will look after all the like he is the real head of the country. So this kind of proposal was also made through this constitutional convention, and the constitution drafted in that Philadelphia Constitutional Convention under the leadership of George Washington. So what was the significance of this American Revolution? So that we will see now. They fought against, and they have got their independence. You can see this signing of Declaration of Independence 1776. Okay, under the George Washington here, and all the members who attended this, they're signing the declaration and all. So let us see what was the significance of this revolution. Okay, first thing was, because of this revolution, a new nation emerged in the world. So United States of America is a new country now. So it is a new country that emerged in the world, and also a new era of human race. So a new era of human race and new nation also emerged, because these American colonies, they were not native. They are people from different parts of the world, especially from Britain, and they came, they settled over here, and finally they fought for their rights, and they became one. So that's it was a new human race. And what is the significance of this revolution? It led to the independence of 13 colonies, which later on combined together to form United States of America. So this was the first thing. That means all the colonies came under one umbrella called United States of America. This is the first significance of the revolution. All the colonies united. It also gave the affirmed the principles. That means it adapted principles of freedom, democracy, and liberty. Okay, having freedom to people is one thing which they adapted. Democracy means that people having the right to elect their governments, and liberty means having some kind of restricted freedom. So the Declaration of Independence stated that all men are born equal, cannot be denied the rights to life and liberty and pursuit of happiness. So all such principles and all were given to the people of these colonies, like equality, right to life, liberty, being happy. These all were given as rights. Because of this revolution, all such rights came to people of American colonies. That was another importance of American Revolution. So another important thing was, it led to the emergence of a novel system of government. That is, federal system of government was designed for the first time by the Americans. So the 13 colonies, after attaining independence from Britain, formed a loose form of confederation, which was subsequently transformed into a federal system. So, in their struggle against Britain, they were just having Continental Congress, right, which includes committees and all. So, committees of correspondence, as I said. So, it was a loose confederation, only just for a purpose they just came together. But after gaining independence, this confederation was transformed into a federal system of government. Federal system of government means there would be a central government controlling all the colonies, and every colony would have the state government with autonomy. That means the state government has every right to look after their own internal affairs. So, but with some powers even to one, because to make all these colonies to stick together, they also require a central government. So separation of powers between central and state government was planned. That kind of government was called federal system of government. So with separation of powers between central and state governments. So this is required for America now. Now they can't split up like colonies, because being together is their strength now. So realizing that, they wanted to frame one strong central government to protect the unity of the colonies. And understanding the needs of the colonies, they said every colony can form their own state government independently, and they can run. But in a way, they are all responsible to the central government. So this was one kind of important contribution that the revolution gave. The framers of American Constitution gave practical lessons in the constitution making to the world. So what are those practical lessons that they gave? They formed a federal constitution with the principle of separation of powers and the system of checks and balances. That means, on one hand, by having central government, they are showing that there is a control over colonies. On the other hand, separating powers, it also says that the state colonies also have some autonomy. This kind of unique design of government called federal government, it gave the world also to think about an alternative system of government. Till then they were following the Britain's form of government, where people elect parliamentary form of government and all. But here, presidential form of government with federal system, that is separation of powers between center and state, was designed by the constitutional framers of America. So unlike Britain, America has chosen presidential system of government. That means in America, the president would be head of all the government affairs, whereas in Britain, prime minister would be the head of affairs. So summing up, these people, the revolution has contributed a written constitution for them, and also some rights were given to people and federation. So all such things were great contributions from this revolution. So American Revolution also gave them, through the constitution, some rights. So this was also a significant contribution: freedom of speech, press and religion, and right to get justice according to law. All such new rights were given to people through American Constitution. So American Revolution also gave birth to democratic system, which gave American public for the first time right to vote. So right to vote was also an important contribution by the revolution, because of which the constitution was formed, and because of the constitution, all American public, irrespective of their color and their race and anything, they have got the right to vote. It also marked the defeat of imperialism and brought forward the concept of nationalism before the human society. So, for the very first time, the defeat of imperialism, that means imperialism means always trying to control other countries for the sake of their resources, or for money, or exploiting their resources. You try to do wars and control other places. That kind of nature is called imperialism. Britain was the most imperialistic country in those days. So it ended the defeat of imperialism and also marked the concept of nationalism. That means people coming together and fighting for their rights. So these were all given by this revolution to world. It infused a new vigor into anti-colonial revolutionaries in the entire world. That means after seeing the revolution, the armed revolt of Americans throughout world, people got inspired, and they also fought against their imperial or controlling powers. For example, people of South America also gained independence from the foreign rule of Spain and Portugal, inspired from this American War of Independence. So, those days, South American was controlled by Spain and Portugal, and all the South American people, they also fought against these people and gained their independence. And their inspiration was American War of Independence. It also provided a great fillip. Great fillip means a boost, you can call, to French Revolution in later days. So French Revolution, which was also a great revolution historically, also received a kind of boost by seeing the American War of Independence. It instilled in the French people a new spirit of self-confidence to raise their head against autocracy and aristocracy. So in those days, France, under the leadership of like another person. So what was happening was, it also had a lot of struggle with autocracy. That means kings used to rule France. Under the king's rule, France was getting trouble more. So the people of France, and under leadership of many, they also fought against their autocracy or aristocracy. That means kingship, and they gained they revolted and they gained their independence there from the king's rule, and they emerged as a government kind of things there also. So thus American Revolution significantly contributed to various aspects.